Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope we're doing great today. Happy Saturday. Got the public betting guide for NBA, NHL, and college football today. So be sure to like and subscribe. Check out all my betting links in the description below to get in on the action. Go ahead, turn on those notification bells, and yeah, we'll hop in it. Nashville and the Oilers, 67% of the money on the over 6.5, 90% of the money on the Predators money line. Jets and Coyotes, and there'll be a bunch of missing info, guys. That's just how it is until all the data comes in. We have 70% of the money on Arizona money line, Bruins and Red Wings. 75% of the bets are on the Bruins minus 1.5. 83% of the money coming in on that under 6.5, and then 74% of the money on the Red Wings money line. Lightning and Senators, 83% of the money on the under 7. And then 78% of the money on the Senators money line. Canadians and Blues, 67% of the bets are on the under 6.5. 97% of the money on the Canadians money line. Sabres and Maple Leafs, 67% of the bets are on the Maple Leafs minus 1.5. And then 82% of the bets are on the Maple Leafs money line. Blue Jackets and Capitals, it's a 50-50 on the over-under. And then 62% of the bets are on the Blues money line. Kings and Flyers, it's a 50-50 on the spread. No other info, sadly. Hurricanes, Islanders, 80% of the bets are on the under 5.5. Then 95% of the money on the Hurricanes money line. Rangers and Wild, it's a 50-50 on the spread right now. And then 89% of the money coming in on the Wild money line. Panthers and Blackhawks, it's a 50-50 on the spread. 88% of the money on the under 6.5, then 82% of the money on the Blackhawks money line. Stars and Canucks, 67% of the money on the over 6, then 95% of the money on the Canucks money line. Flames and Kraken, it's a 50-50 on the over-under, and then 86% of the money is coming in on the Kraken money line. Penguins and Sharks, 98% of the money on the Penguins minus 1.5. 88% of the bets are on the under 6.5, and then 93% of the bets are on the Penguins money line. Then the Avalanche and Golden Knights, 75% of the bets are on the Avalanche plus 1.5, 91% of the money on the under 6.5, and then 99% of the money on the Avalanche money line. Then we'll go to NBA here. Suns and Sixers. 60% of the bets are on the Suns plus 4.5. It's a 50-50 on the over-under, and then 86% of the bets are on the 76ers money line. Lakers and Magic, 78% of the money on the Magic plus 3.5. 81% of the money on the under 219.5. Then 83% of the money on the Magic money line. Hawks and Pelicans, 67% of the bets are on the Pelicans minus 3. And then 94% of the money on the Hawks money line. Hornets and Pacers, 57% of the bets are on the Pacers minus 3. Then 86% of the bets are on the Pacers money line. Jazz and Timberwolves, 89% of the bets are on the Jazz plus 7.5. 67% of the bets are on the under 226.5. Then 86% of the bets are on the Timberwolves money line. Kings and Rockets, 74% of the money on the Kings minus 2.5. Then 76% of the bets are on the Kings money line. Celtics and Nets, 90% of the money on the Celtics minus 9.5. 80% of the bets are on the under 230.5. And then 97% of the bets are on the Celtics money line. Bulls and Nuggets, 96% of the money on the Bulls plus 9.5. 89% of the money coming in on the Bulls money line. Then we'll go to some college football here. Just going to go over some big matchups. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Ohio State, Rutgers. 72% of the money on Ohio State minus 19. 84% of the money on the under 42.5. And then 97% of the money on Ohio State money line. Kansas State and Texas. 52% of the bets are on Kansas State plus 3.5. 78% of the money on the under 50. And then 89% of the money on Texas money line. Arkansas and Florida, 82% of the money on Arkansas plus 3.5. 69% of the money on the over 49. And then 98% of the money on Arkansas money line. Tennessee UConn, 72% of the money on Tennessee minus 35, 97% of the money on over 55, and then 80% of the bets are on Tennessee money line. A&M and Ole Miss, 62% of the money on Ole Miss minus 3, 59% of the money on the over 51.5, and then 80% of the money on Ole Miss money line. Clemson Notre Dame, 55% of the money on Clemson plus 3, 76% of the money on the under 44.5, and then 72% of the money on Notre Dame money line. Utah, Arizona State, 52% of the money on Arizona State plus 11, 69% of the money on the under 39.5, and 74% of the money on Utah money line. Army, Air Force, 91% of the money on Army plus 17.5, 93% of the money on the under 32, and then 99% of the money on Air Force money line. South Florida, not going to cover that one. Penn State, Maryland, 67% of the money on Maryland plus 8.5, 69% of the money on the over 49.5, and then 85% of the money on Maryland money line. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, 74% of the money on Oklahoma State plus 6, 58% of the money on the over 61.5, and then 92% of the money on Oklahoma State money line. Georgia, Missouri, 69% of the money on Missouri plus 15, 97% of the money on the over 55.5, and 78% of the money on Georgia money line. Virginia Tech, Louisville, 66% of the money on Louisville minus 10, 86% of the money on the under 48.5, and then 95% of the money on Louisville money line. Florida State, Pittsburgh, 74% of the money on Pitt plus 21.5, 96% of the money on the over 50, and 67% of the money on Florida State money line. Let's see, Oregon, California, 63% of the money on Oregon minus 24.5, 85% of the money on the over 59.5, and then 99% of the money on Oregon money line. Let's see. Purdue, Michigan, 78% of the money on Michigan minus 32.5, 96% of the money on the over 52.5, and then 81% of the money on Purdue money line. Washington, USC, 53% of the money on USC plus 3, 58% of the money on the over 77, and then 56% of the money on Washington money line. LSU, Bama, 70% of the money on Bama minus 3, 67% of the money on the over 61.5, and then 74% of the money on Bama money line. Oregon State, Colorado, 79% of the money on Oregon State minus 13, 81% of the money on the under 61.5, and then 87% of the money on Colorado money line. And then UCLA, Arizona, 67% of the money on Arizona plus 2.5, 69% of the money on the over 50.5, and then 72% of the money on Arizona money line. And that's going to be it for the video. Good luck with your picks and parlays on Saturday. Hope you guys all cash out. I'll see you guys Sunday. Have a good one.